So the baseball manager has long been nicknamed the Skipper, or Skip. Jared Michael Schumaker also has the nickname Skip. Coincidence? I think not. We'll talk about it next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. There he is, Skip, the Skipper. And with the name like Skip and being a manager in Major League Baseball, I'm sure he's heard that a zillion times. So I will try to minimize the just tremendous temptation to play every Skip little joke, Skip to my Lou, and all of that. I'll minimize it. I really will try anyway. John Radigan, Jeff Wilson, DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Sports Podcast. Rangers podcast, to be specific, and the Queen Cat is actually standing right behind the camera tonight, waving at us, and we're waving back. Hi, Cat. So anyway, we're glad to have you in there too. We already see you chatting. We were so glad to have you Friday night when we had the emergency podcast to announce this, and Mist is already in there with the Friday news dump. It was an extremely strange time, Jeff, to make that announcement.
Yeah, very much. I wonder if a national reporter was about to get the jump on him.
Might be.
And that was definitely a possibility. Apparently that's why the Rangers announced the DeGrom thing in 2022 when they did, which I also believe was a Friday, at around the same time. Because I was on my way to a school festival.
Okay.
I had just gotten there, and I walked up to my wife, looked at my text messages, and I said, all right, I'll see you guys later. So, and I was at baseball practice Friday night when the Rangers dropped that bomb on us.
Yes, they did indeed. And it was actually our skipper and Cat who caught it, and we were all on board and quickly. Jeff from the baseball facility.
That's all right, baby.
And me from the house, and we were all ready to go and get that big announcement out there. There is some thought to Chris Young's sensitivity to doing these things on days when there are no playoff games, which would be what the commissioner prefers to have happen. But if that was the case, it does seem silly, right, to have done it at 9 o'clock or whatever it was at night, as opposed to at that press conference earlier in the day.
Yeah, and maybe the playoff thing had something to do with it because, Chris Young, who worked in the commissioner's office, is very sensitive to the commissioner's wishes, and the commissioner's probably top wish is don't do anything to take attention away from my playoffs. So I think that that also factored into it. That's fine. It's done, and I'm glad. I didn't want a full blown service.
No,
nobody wants one of those. Those are awful. And so it's good that he's in the fold, Skip, and we'll at some point have a press conference introducing him.
And it's an interesting thought. Again, same logic. Okay, there's a game every day this week, at least one, as they try to, of course, spread out the American League and the National League Division Series. So they don't want, they don't want an empty night as we had on Friday. So there's a game every day and most nights. So maybe it's between the DS and the CS. I haven't looked at the schedule to see if maybe there's a day in between there. And it might just be that, CY has to call his buddy, Manfred, and say, hey, do you mind if I do this on a Wednesday morning or whatever? Yeah. So anyway, we'll see what happens, but we know there will be an introductory press conference to introduce Skip Schumaker as the new manager of the Texas Rangers. You know a lot about him. We do too. He comes to us from Aliso. What is it? Aliso Viejo, California.
Yeah.
And, he went to high school there, went to a couple of different colleges, UC Santa Barbara for a while. I think he went to Loyola Marymount and played baseball there for a while. Ultimately gets drafted in the 5th round by the Cardinals, where he played from 05 until 12. And I think it's somewhat significant that he was brought up in that era, Jeff, of the St. Louis Cardinals, because that's where Lance Lynn came to us from, that organization. And he talked glowingly, lovingly, unbelievably about, and granted, 11 was his first year, but that was still that same era of players. He talked about the Wainwrights and so many of the other guys in that organization who taught him how to be a player, right? I think there was a real good group there that was fashioning future major league players / leaders like Schumaker.
Well, and to answer my friend Rob's comment, is Skip a fan of stealing bases, small ball, or more station to station? Well, if you go back to the Cardinals teams he played for, they were managed by Tony La Russa, and the pitchers batted at the time. So there was a lot of small ball by virtue of just being in the National League. And, it's not like Skip was a power hitter. Skip has 28 career home runs.
Right, yeah.
So Skip had a role down usually at the bottom of the order. So I do believe he's the kind of guy that is big in into the game situation.
Yeah.
In this era, you need to steal bases. Just the way that it's a little shorter and the bases are bigger and all that stuff, and the success rate. The Rangers are really good at stealing bases this season.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking that that will be Skip Schumaker's deal. Kind of going back to Ron Washington, maybe a little bit. Aggression on the bases. I know. There's the era where I don't know, era. Nobody likes to make out on the bases, and the Moneyball A's never stole bases, never bunted, and gone to the playoffs a couple times.
Yeah,
but it didn't get them home. So we'll see how it plays out. But it's my just what I've read about Skip and know of him as a player and his background. I'm thinking there will be some. It won't just be guys going up there and trying to drive it over the fence and hit it into the alleys. Do what the game asked you to do.
Yes, exactly right. To answer some of the many questions about are we excited about Skip, I said it. I summarized it after our emergency pod the other night for my wife and daughter, who kind of were listening downstairs, and they said, "So what do you think about this?" And I said, "Well, I like the hire, but I hate the fire."
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so the fact that Bruce Bochy isn't here, I still don't like.
Right.
But the fact that, this is a guy that CY had targeted for, over a year as like, this could be our heir apparent. That, this guy, he's got it. He thinks like we do. Right. There was a lot of vetting done before they hired him as a senior special assistant or whatever his role was. So to the extent that this is the guy they wanted and this is the guy they hired, good hire. Still don't like the fact that they got rid of Bruce.
Yeah, and that's always going to be the tough one to the putting the square peg in a round hole situation. It doesn't make a ton of sense, and it maybe it will in time. Some things will come out more and more, I guess. But I mean, this is a mutual decision. Well, I don't think they were sitting at a table for hours trying to fix this one or make it work. Seemed like the club knows what direction it's going in, and was like, well, we might be better off with a younger guy. And I don't know. I don't think it was mutual.
Right.
I think I think there are a lot of ways you can go on that word. So anyway, whatever happened has happened. It'll probably come out slowly but surely here in the coming weeks and months. But Skip Schumaker is the manager. And look, I have nothing against him.
Not at
and
all.
The times I've met him, he's been great. Talked to him, and we were able to talk TCU because that's where his son is headed to play baseball. Yeah, he was very successful in his first year with the Nationals. Or not the Nationals, the Marlins. And the second year, there was some transition in the front office. Kim Ng, who was the general manager, she left, and she had given him a contract that had an option for 2025.
Yeah.
And then the new people voided the option. And then, the team was not very good. And then I don't know if Skip just beat them to the punch and said, I'm not coming back. He told his team at the end of the year. He left because his father was ill, didn't manage the final 2 games, but told them when he left, I'm not coming back next year. And, was honest and upfront about it. And the players didn't care for it. They wanted him to stay. So that's a ringing endorsement. Your players don't want you to leave. But it was a 100-loss team. And amid dysfunction, the people I've talked to about it are like, the Marlins were a disaster that year.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're any better now, but I don't think that should be held against him. It's a question that probably has been answered and might be worth revisiting. But he made a decision that he found was the best for his career, and 1 season later, he's now managing the Rangers.
Yeah. Thank you, Mista, for the suggestion, and we will get Skip on the pod, or at least we expect to. We believe that on the day they have the press conference, we'll have an opportunity to sit down with Skip, whether it be something we put on tape and put on the show, or whether it be something that is perhaps done live on the show. But one way or the other, we intend to have Skip on the podcast, and that's awesome. I mean, so yeah, that's a reason. One more reason. Somebody said we've got the whole off season, and we do. And there's a lot more for all of us to talk about, think about, worry about with regard to how this is going to play out now, right? Everything could be different. Lots of things will be the same. We know that, but lots of things could be different too. So, yeah, we'll have time to get to know Skip even better than we do, because he wasn't around just a ton,
right?
And he lived, his off-season home is still out there in Southern California. I don't know if it's in old Aliso, is what somebody said. I don't know if it's in old Aliso. Poor Aliso. Huh? They got to call Aliso old. But anyway,
I don't. Maybe there's a Nuevo Aliso
maybe,
somewhere. Yeah.
So, and I don't know if it's in poor old Aliso, but But anyway, he lives out there somewhere, and so he was only coming into town, somewhat sporadically. But they, CY and Ross were asked about that on Friday, and they had no trouble at all, no concerns about how often he was around and what he got to see and how much he learned about this team. That's another thing that I think makes him a really good choice. Very seldom, guys know a lot about other organizations and other teams when they're going to come in and try to manage them or coach them. We remember Mike McCarthy had gotten his little barn built in Green Bay where he could just get in there and work on football and study every team and all that kind of stuff, right? Those guys that want to get back into it, no doubt, will do that kind of thing. However, almost nobody's in the organization for a year looking at it closely with the front office personnel, dissecting what's wrong and what needs to be done. But he comes in, Schumaker does, with eyes wide open.
Yeah, at one point, Friday, gosh, like a year ago, Ross mentioned that they talked to him frequently, if not daily, then within no more than like a day went by that they didn't seek his opinion, Skip's opinion on something, and so there's a familiarity working with him, but also Skip visited some affiliates and watched the games and was in town occasionally. And so he knows what he's doing. He's worked with Chris Young, and knows a lot of the coaching staff and has observed them. And then he's going to know what needs to be done to fix the team. I'm assuming that he and Chris Young align on that philosophy very much. They're, playing days overlapped, and ran similarly at a same era in the game, and so I'm sure that, they're probably the same age. I don't know. I haven't done I haven't looked, but I think Skip wouldn't have taken this job if he didn't feel good about it.
Absolutely. 100%. He would have had choices. He certainly could have had choices this year, as there are quite a few openings. So lots more coming up about Skip Schumaker. And let's talk about the change that's already been made on the coaching staff. That's coming next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. And it's football season. It is football season. Nicole, quick to remind me that the Cowboys have lots of home games left. They've got another road game this week as they take on the Carolina Panthers. But after a big win yesterday, I'm sure that people are getting even a little bit more excited. You've got to get out there and check these Cowboys out, and there's no better place to get your ticket for that than the Game Time app, because that Game Time app, what you reaching for, Jeff?
Well, I'm reaching for the next segment.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, okay. He's your next commercial. Got it. Yep. So, but the Game Time app is great. You can just get on their app and you can find your seat and you can see what your view will be like from the seat. And they guarantee it. And they don't have silly, gross fees. So go to GameTime.com, use the code DLLS, and get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. You won't regret it.
Reaching back there kind of stretching me out a little bit. Golly, not as flexible.
A little cramp in the shoulder now.
Anyway, branded bills. And there's a reason I reached for that. One, I'm wearing a branded bills hat on my head. And that's one thing that branded bills wants you to know. Whether any style hats, snapback, truckers, fitteds, beanies, they have you covered. If you're looking for some gear for your own brand, ding, 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 DLLS was. And this is a DLLS branded bills hat. So, and we'll talk about the hats here in a minute, but they do all kinds of great things at Branded Bills. You can get hats for various states in the union. I've been looking at a lot of Colorado hats and Texas hats, but they have a partnership with 40 colleges, including your 4-1 TCU Horned Frogs, should be 5-0. But anyway, head to brandedbills.com and use the code BBDLLS for 15% off your first order.
There you go. Branded Bills is a great, great cap.
See if I can
and a partner. Oh, didn't have to stand up. Oh, yeah.
I already hurt this side, so I had to turn to this side.
Nice.
Had to go right. Yeah.
Did you notice he was using Mando there too? He's not pitting out. So that's an ad for a different day. So here we go. The changes have started. When we had the press conference with Chris Young and Ross Fenstermaker on Friday, they kind of indicated that all the coaches were in good standing and that perhaps all the coaches would be back. Now, no idea if Skip came in immediately and made this change, or if maybe this was something the whole brain trust was considering anyway, and they just weren't going to say it because maybe all the parties hadn't been notified. But since Friday, at some point, Bobby Wilson has been relieved of his duties as the catching coach and coordinator. A little surprised by the move, Jeff, because he's really regarded as just a master of receiving, and that's so important at that catching position.
Yeah, he is and was pretty close to Bruce Bochy. Yeah. And he also lives in Tampa.
Yep.
3 daughters. And he's had opportunities to go elsewhere in the recent past. And, Bobby, who played for the Rangers, well, he played for a lot of other teams. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has another offer. And I don't know, maybe he and Bruce Bochy have something ginned up. I don't know.
But that's a thought.
I'm just spitballing on that one. But it's unfortunate because I love Bobby, a good guy, and again, a great catching guru. I do wonder, though, if the ABS is going to take the value away from pitch framing, and maybe the Rangers want to go a different. Don't feel that there needs to be an emphasis on that, and maybe Bobby's wearing a little bit of the Jonah Heim
failure.
Maybe I don't know, but it's a shame because Bobby's out there, worked hard every day, spoke a lot, ask him a catching question, blow your mind, all the
Oh,
information he
amazing.
has.
Yeah.
And so, anywho, there you go. That's some interesting news. And Natalie has asked, will Mike Maddox be back? Funny you should say that, Natalie. I asked Mike Maddox, and he's currently practicing golf. So I'm planning to talk to him a little bit later. So he and Skip worked together. Skip's only a year on the Cardinals coaching staff in 2022. He and Mike Maddox worked together, and Mike has told me that he definitely they got along, and he holds him in high regard. So I think that if Bruce Bochy was going to leave, or not be back, that it would take a unique manager for Mike to continue in his role. He's 63, and his daughter just had a grandbaby during spring training, and he doesn't need to do this anymore. He wants to. So I think that there's a good chance that this comes to fruition, that indeed Mike Maddox will return.
So, and to the point that a few people made in the last segment, when you said maybe he and Boch have something together, a couple people in the chat earlier today were saying, Bochy wasn't fired, and we believe that he was. Maybe it was a kinder, gentler firing, but he wanted to come back. He wants to manage, and now he's not going to be managing in San Francisco. So we thought maybe he didn't want to manage here. He did want to manage there. He didn't, in large part, because his wife doesn't want to deal with that travel to Nashville to San Francisco anymore. They did it long enough. But if he does go somewhere else, I think that proves, this guy still wanted to manage, and you don't want to go into a new situation if you don't have to. That said, CY kind of indicated, I'm reading between the lines here, but CY said, we love Bruce Bochy, we want everything great for him. I really hope he stays in the organization, but I think he's going to have some better options. So I think CY already knows that there's another possibility out there for Bruce Bochy.
Yeah, and it's kind of semantics. You can play with it any way you want. The Rangers basically are choosing to not renew his contract.
Yeah.
That which is a gentler way of saying, we didn't want him back.
Yeah. Or thanks for your time.
Or because they keep saying a new voice. It's like, okay, that doesn't sound like something that was mutual. I'm sure Bruce Bochy thinks his voice is just fine. But I'm not here to make any assertions. Just reading between the lines like John is, and we don't know for sure what has happened. But I think that you can dispute how mutual things were just based on kind of some things that have been said.
Sure, we've both heard it from plenty of people around there that it's it's probably not as mutual. Again, we just know Bruce Bochy was very, very interested in coming back. And, of course, that would have meant in signing another contract. And I felt bad for him, actually, initially, when I thought it was just going to be a no-brainer that he goes and works for Buster Posey. And when that was quickly announced, or refuted by Posey, who also offered Boch a place in the organization if he wanted it, that was quickly refuted. I thought, man, I hope Boch still gets a chance, just because I like him so much. And it was very clear that he wants to keep managing. And it was very clear that when he came back, he realized then how much he didn't like retirement. And he said he had more fun in the 3 years here than he maybe ever had in the game.
Yeah. And it's, it'll be interesting to talk to him here down the road. And I talked to him the night of, and I don't know that he wanted to get into any specifics. And, Chris Young said Bruce Bochy wanted what's best for the organization. I really think that Bruce Bochy probably thought, hey, I'm best for.
I'm pretty good for the organization.
I'm pretty good for the organization.
I let him do a World Series 2 years ago.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I talked out on this for now.
Yeah, no, that's fine, and that's plenty about that because, who knows if we'll ever get the full answer. But, everybody's allowed to believe what they want to believe on that. And so, obviously, as we keep mentioning, we look forward now, and we look forward to a guy who, while he only has 2 years of managerial experience, had great success taking a Marlins team that was floundering and taking them to the playoffs in the first year. But they ran into the Dodgers in the first round that year? Phillies in the first round. Okay. So, again, this is a wild card team in 2023.
Correct.
No, 23.
Yeah.
So.
And look, the Marlins weren't bad this year. I know Mista started off the show saying that the Rangers should go get Sandy Alcantara and all the some other good young players from the Marlins. I don't think the Marlins are looking to trade these guys.
No.
Maybe Alcantara just because they need to get something for him before he goes anywhere. But I don't think they're going to want to trade, Josh Stowers, or any of their young guys really. So I don't know that there's a trade partner there. Maybe for Alcantara. It would be nice to get Liam Hicks back into the organization.
Yeah,
need a catcher. Hey,
yeah.
Maybe they could get him back, but it'd be at a much higher price than they gave him up for Yosemite Sam. I think it was. That might have been
was that the Yosemite Sam trade?
It might have been the Sam trade or the Carson Kelly trade, one of the two. But it was same team anyway.
Yeah.
So it'll be. We need this coaching staff to come together. That's the next thing. We can't do anything with free agency until
the World Series
is over. Although the Rangers could re-sign some of their own guys who are headed to free agency. So we'll just kind of get this thing settled out. They need to hopefully it happens fast. Especially on the pitching front with Maddox and Jordan Teagues and Dave Bush. Somebody was asking all about Sports Zone. Now that Bobby Wilson has been let go, who will take his spot? It could be Brett Hayes just kind of transitioning from his role this year as like the quality control coach, to catching coordinator because Brett was a catcher,
right?
That's the position he played when he was a player. So that could be an easy kind of fix there. And he knows the catchers as they are now, for sure.
And the thing you always have to remember about coaches too, and Brett's done a really good job, and so did Bobby. And you would not consider either one of them great catchers during their career. But the interesting thing, sometimes that type of player makes the best coach, and often that great player does not make a great coach. Michael Jordan, Ted Williams. Magic Johnson. I mean, so many
Patrick
of them.
Ewing.
Yeah.
Terrible George.
Yeah, so many of us, and Tom Grieve, my buddy Tom Grieve used to tell me, Ted Williams would say to them, well, just go out and hit it. And Tom's like, we can't. You can, we can't. So it seems so easy to some of those great players. I'm trying to think, is there a great player who ever became a great coach?
Larry Bird is a pretty good coach.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. That's right.
Was Billy Cunningham a good player? He was a decent
good player. I mean, he was a good player. Yeah, and he became a really
Pat
good
Riley
coach.
was a great college player.
Yeah, he was.
I don't know, he was a good NBA player.
Yeah.
So
Billy Cunningham was
Bill Russell, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Although I don't know how much coaching he did because those were pretty good teams.
They were pretty good teams, but still. So yeah, there's a few from the NBA, but it's hard to think. Well, and I don't know. Did any of the great
Mike Singletary, was he any good as a coach? No.
Any of the great Yankees from way back when become good managers?
Billy Martin wasn't a great player.
Wasn't a great player though. Yeah. So anyway,
Don Mattingly. Mattingly.
Okay, Mattingly. Thank you, Tio. Yeah, that's a good one.
But he's never won a World Series.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. All right. So anyway, that's that. And we were talking the man, the plan, and the people. So let's get into a little bit more about the people, which includes players and assistant coaches next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast.
John, I've once again, as happens every second segment of our show, been caught with my pants down as we go to the ad break. So I have
But
no
I'll do
idea.
it first. It's new.
Thanks.
I had mine down too. It's
Oh,
the
good.
newsletter. The newsletter. Ali sent us a nice note in our chat the other day, our Slack, that said, "Hey, thank you guys for pumping up the newsletter. We've gotten a bunch of new, subscribers to it, and so we encourage you, if you haven't, to do so. Our newsletter is cool. It comes into your inbox, your email inbox, and to be a member of our newsletter, a subscriber, all you have to do is go to our homepage, alldlls.com. Go down to the bottom, you'll see the box. And what I love about our website, by the way, it takes a minute to get to the bottom, which shows how much stuff all our guys are contributing, right? You get all the way down to the bottom, and there it says newsletter, subscribe. It's free. Ali writes it every day. He's one of our cowboy writers, and he just kind of gives you a thumbnail about what's going on in the world of sports, our world of sports in particular, and our world here at DLLS. So subscribe to our newsletter today.
No props for this one because you guys are on the prop. It's the supporters club of our YouTube channel, and that's what you're watching this on. And I've seen a few of these pop up in the chat, the cool emojis that you get when you become a member of the supporters club. Or there's two levels. There's the $5 level and the $15 level. It's true sicko level stuff. So it's above Diehard. You become a sicko, which is higher than Diehard, apparently.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay. But we love our Diehards. We'll get to you guys in a minute about subscribing, but you're going to get free behind the scenes. Well, not free. You're going to get behind the scenes content
almost free
as a member of the supporters club. And we'll probably have one here in a couple of days with me and John talking things out. So do that today.
Appreciate you. The people are going to change some. We've already talked about the Bobby Wilson change. And again, that could be very mutual, right? Because again, I don't think CY was indicating in any way when we talked to him that there were any changes coming on the coaching staff. But the one area to, again, appease anybody who's worried about Mike Maddox, and first of all, Jeff's got such a great relationship with him that, we'll learn about it, and he'll talk to Mad Dog. But the thing to when CY was mentioning the coaching staff, he singled out the three pitching coaches, Dave Bush, Jordan Teagues, and of course Mike Maddox, and said they did such a great job. I mean, he was, gesturing and emphasizing this is a strength of our coaching.
Correct. And then he went further to speak about what Mike does so well, which is beyond the X's and O's, I guess you will, the technical side of pitching. Game planning is he builds these guys up and convinces them that he is that they are the best pitchers in the world, and that if they throw their pitches in the strike zone, it's going to work. And look, I'm not saying this year was a motley crew of relievers, but guys who bounced around, guys who needed a rebound year, and
guys who didn't cost a lot of money, which tells you where they were, right? Relative to the how much they were wanted or pursued.
Yeah, and so they did rebound. The Rangers got from them what they were hoping to get from them, and a huge reason for that is Mike Maddox. I mean, and Mike believes in these guys, believes in them in a lot of situations. I mean, who would have ever thought, based on what he did in 2024, that Hobie Milner would be pitching the 8th inning in tight games for the Rangers? And he was just out there, in June and July. Hobie Milner was the Rangers' best reliever, and there's just no way around it. And Sean Armstrong finished the year so well, saving games. There's a lot of that credit that needs to go to the player, yes, but also Mike Maddox believing in them and making them believe in themselves. So that's got to be the priority. I mean, just considering who Chris Young is, a former major league pitcher, how much he values pitching, I can't imagine that they're not going to try their hardest to get Mike Maddox back.
They will. I totally believe that they will. And the relationship, the past relationship, the assistant coaches on a team are always, pretty close to each other.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you talk about family. They're with each other, again, from middle of February and until, like, if you make the playoffs or go to the World Series, until the end of October. It's a long, every day,
Yeah.
travel together, eat lunch together on the road, eat their meals together at the ballpark. I mean, lots and lots of camaraderie. So, if Mike had good feelings about Skip from their 1 year together in St. Louis, that's just a really good thing. So that's good. Those coaches, in large part, I think, will stay intact. Someone's asking about Boone. I really think I saw CY and Brett having a couple of different heart-to-hearts in and around batting practice right there at the very end, right at the tail end of the season. So, I think they're very much on the same page. And in that same press conference, CY talked about how the offense really did improve and brought up the point that after June 1st, they were one of the top 5 offenses in the American League, and no doubt in the context was giving credit to what Brett Boone was trying to do. He then went on to say, now these guys will have an off season to not only work on their swing, but to work on some of these other things that we're asking them to do. It surprises me, as it might you, a little bit, that big league baseball players can't just, when you say, okay, the goal now isn't just to hit home runs, it's to shorten up and do the thing that get the ball out, slap the ball out to right field, whatever, that they can't just immediately do it. But they're pretty good pitchers too. So it's something I guess you have to work on, and that CY believes an offseason full of concentrating on it will help this team achieve it to an even higher level next year.
Yeah, that's pretty funny you mentioned that. Yesterday, watching my son play, he had a good weekend. I was late in the game, like the right field was just wide open. I didn't want to tell him, "Hey, hit it to right field," because that's just going to screw with him.
Yeah, sure.
So I didn't. But you're right. It's like, boy, you sure would think that these talented guys could do those things, but they can't. And so I think you'll see the Rangers just looking different next year. Some of that will be Brett Boone can get some credit for that, whether he's back or not. He's the one who kind of
started it,
put the wheels in motion.
Yeah.
But back to our earlier point and Rob's question, I think that Skip Schumaker, probably made his living being able to do those things.
100%. Yeah.
And so I would expect that he would hope that his players could do the same.
Yeah, and if you look at Skip Schumaker's Marlins 2023 team, that's what they did. They had the lowest fly ball rate of any team in the majors, I think. And they were very good at just manufacturing runs. And so his thing isn't about, his philosophy is to hit line drives, right? And that's funny because that's Ron Washington's too. Yeah. Right? If you just hit line drives, and every once in a while you'll run into one, it'll go out of the park. But if you just keep hitting line drives into the big part of the field, guess what? They're going to go to the wall, and you're going to score lots of runs. And that's a philosophy that's been lost a little bit, of course, with the advent and the insistence upon, and the just the people love the launch angle and the exit velocity and all those kinds of things. Whatever. Let's just get the ball into the outfield and land somewhere, and let's see what happens. So, but I definitely think it's going to be a point of emphasis. It'll continue, and I honestly think Brett Boone will be back. But he also may have some other options. That'll determine that.
Well, I think going back to the park factors talk.
Sure.
If indeed Globe Life Field is going to be a place where you can't slug, then you have to hit line.
Yep.
You just kind of have to change your approach and your personnel. You have to change your personnel because the Rangers had too many guys with these big old swings, and these approaches, aggressive, super aggressive. So I think that that'll be part of it. Now you can't, again, as Ross pointed out, with the park factors different every year.
Right.
They can't sell They can't buy in too much one way, but I think they recognize what we recognized a long time ago, and it's that this lineup this season had too many of the same guy, too many aggressive hitters, too much swing and miss. Got to make contact. There were situations, and Brett Boone said it to me. All he had to do was breathe on the ball, and it would have gotten a run home.
Yep.
And they didn't breathe on it. They swung and missed. So it's just some things have to change philosophically. And the guys who showed they couldn't do that, some of them need to change.
They do. Those guys that would only, seem to have an ability to be that really long swing. Sometimes you have to shorten up. Sometimes, like I remember thinking sometimes during extra inning games, right? Like, who the heck is going to bunt? Right? First of all, you don't want Corey Seager bunting, right? Or
Right.
and a few other guys. But then I'm looking at the lineup going, none of these guys are good at it. Nobody's going to come up here and bunt the runner from second to third. I really want that right now.
Yeah.
Let's get a runner at third with nobody out, or one out.
Especially if if you're the visiting team, you do try to put up a crooked number.
Sure.
If you're the home team and you post a 0, get the guy to
all you gotta
third
do.
and hit a fly ball.
Yep.
All about Sports Zone on a heater today.
Yeah.
If Semien he's read an article. If Semien is going to stay, he has to make some hitting adjustments. I think he needs to make a hitting adjustment even if he doesn't stay. It's been 2 down years in a row, and so he needs to fix things. What has worked for him in the past that he has stuck to the last 2 seasons didn't work real well. It worked at times, but it wasn't consistent enough. So I think that you will see Marcus making adjustments, whether it's for the Texas Rangers, St. Louis Cardinals. I know.
Sure.
Just
Yeah.
Throwing one out there. Yeah.
I think he's of that mindset, right? And I think he realizes it just like all of them do. And it's not as easy, to change, especially for him. We've seen it for 3 years now.
Yeah.
We've seen that routine is routine, man. He does the same thing every day. And
Right.
so there's a lot to change in that process for him. And, it had always worked before. He'd always started slow. He'd always, heated up and then generally stayed pretty hot. But even if he went into another slump, he just didn't change things. And at the end of the year, you looked up and look at the numbers on the back of his baseball card, right?
Yeah. He had a couple, not great seasons for the A's, but, for the most part, he was a good player. And then he had that great year with the Blue Jays there.
I know.
And came here and started slow in 22, 23, started fast, finished third in the MVP vote, but then the last 2 years it just hasn't clicked. So, and it's okay to change, but you have to recognize it. You can't keep believing in your routine after 2 straight seasons.
Yeah, and
some things have to change, and I'm assuming that during their exit interview that was addressed.
Of course. Yeah, you have to have those hard conversations with players in those exit interviews. And I'm sure those hard conversations are had with the assumption that we're all going to be back together again next year, even if, like in the case of CY, who's a part of the exit interviews, he's not sure they will be, right? And he has the control in the case of many of them. But you have to, exit on a note of, we need you to do this work to be better for us. And then if CY is able to execute a few things, like a trade for, and quickly though, before I get to that, I saw several people on Twitter this weekend saying, I think that, Marcus Semien will for sure be back based on what CY said about him. Well, there are those cases where you can't trust what a guy in CY's, position. He's not lying. The things he said are absolutely true. John Daniels talked to us at length about this when he was on. You can't lie, and they all know that. And that some of them have tried, but you'll be caught on that if you do. So he's not lying, but what he's saying, while true, isn't necessarily an endorsement for Marcus Semien. It may be a sales pitch for Marcus Semien, right?
Yeah.
And other teams hear him say it too, and then he'd have an opportunity to maybe pull the trigger on a trade and save some money as it pertains to the CBT.
Look, the guy is, he's a former All-Star. He's a
No doubt.
highly respected player in the game.
Third in the MVP.
A person who plays hard and a community guy, family man, a lot of great things and characteristics. But you need him to produce.
Yep.
And so, I think that they'll look at moving anybody.
Yes.
Probably not White Langford, but
nope.
Anybody, just because that's kind of, you got to look at any avenue to make your team better.
Yep.
And if they find the right deal, then it wouldn't surprise me.
No, it wouldn't me either. We were just talking about this the other day. Somebody told you nobody's untouchable.
Yeah, Nolan Ryan.
Oh, yeah.
Josh Hamilton.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, we'll find that out if there are in fact untouchables. But Wyatt Langford, to your point, and the two top pitchers, Evaldi and DeGrom. I don't think they're touchable in the Rangers organization, but probably everybody else is. And we've got, as somebody said earlier in the chat, the whole off season to talk about those things, which is awesome. As you guys know, we're here every single day during the week from at 1 o'clock almost every day. So we're thrilled to be here. We got lots more to talk about. It's our cleanup segment next. Lots of playoff talk to discuss, and we'll see maybe a few more of these questions and thoughts that you have about the changing Texas Rangers next on the DLLS Rangers podcast. So about our sale, right? Our Diehard sale. You have got to take advantage now. You want one of those sweet hats like Jeff has, which I just think are so cool, right? $59 for a year, and you get that hat. And I'm not going to lie. We've been doing the branded Bills, Reed. They're a partner of ours. We've been doing it for a while, and not being much of a hat wearer because of my size 32 head, I didn't realize what a damn nice hat that is. That's a good quality hat.
The damn fine hat.
The damn fine hat.
Yes.
And so get the hat and the Diehard subscription for $59. It's $60, and you get all the content that we provide. Jeff and all of our writers. We have a new Mavs writer, Ron, coming over from the Dallas Morning News. We've got the Stars and the Cowboys covered as well. So we have so much available for you through our Diehard membership. We just really want you to realize that's the crux of this thing. We're here to break stories, tell you stories, be there when the big story breaks, like we were Friday night when the announcement came that there was a new manager. So anyway, become a Diehard today.
Yeah, and when you're a Diehard, you get 20% off of our merchandise, which you can get at store.allcitynetwork.com. There's the Dallas collection, which John and I are not representing today. We're going with OG shirts here. I almost wore that one today, but I thought, gosh,
I know
you might wear it.
I know.
So I went with the Diehard Ranger shirt here, but they're just comfortable. They fit well. I've actually worked out in one of them previously, and it was a good workout shirt. And again, you get 20% off as a Diehard at store.allcitynetwork.com.
Yeah. So just, you know what? For some reason, that Mavs one down in the lower left of the screen, that just caught my eye. I think that I may have to go make it 17 shirts. I like that shirt. And it reminds me of old Don Carter.
Right. That's what I was just thinking.
Cowboy
hat. Yeah.
Don Carter. God rest his soul. Okay. So cleanup segment, man, it was such a fun weekend of baseball, particularly Friday night for me. We'll get to that in just a second because, as you remember, if you're a longtime member and viewer of the show, I grew up in Detroit, so I'm a Tigers fan. So it's fun for me at this moment not to have any split allegiances because the Rangers aren't in it. But before we get to that Tigers-Mariners series, how about the Blue Jays?
Oof.
Holy moly! 15 or more hits in each of the games against the Yankees. Again, this is not a team that throughout the year, Jeff, we saw them a couple of times and we thought, they're good. They're station to station. They play baseball. They do. they're hitting 3-4 home runs a game all of a sudden, you know?
Yeah. A couple of things I found interesting about that at least game one. I don't know about yesterday. The roof was open.
Yes.
At the Sky Dome / Rogers Center, and I just remember in 2015 how pissed off Toronto fans were that the roof was closed for the games against the Rangers. I mean, they were howling about it. They were so mad.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Maybe it was just a nice sunny day in Toronto.
It was weird. I actually went to the guy. I was working for Bally at the time, and I went to the guy, or it might have still been Fox, and I went to the guy in the roof opening room.
Oh,
and said, "Why? I'm with Fox. Why isn't the roof open?" And he told me there is a very limited temperature range during which the roof can be open. Not about the comfort of the fans, literally about the mechanics of the roof.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And so if it was too hot, the roof wouldn't open for whatever reason. And if it's too cold, the roof wouldn't open. So it had to be between like 58 and 71.
What is that in Celsius, John?
Yeah. Hell, I don't even know. I think you double it and add 32 or something like that. 1.8 plus 32. Anyway, so and he probably did give it to me in Celsius. It's got to be between 11 and 13. Yeah, So anyway,
those poor Canadians.
So that was, but you and I have both been there when that roof's open.
It can be very, very nice.
Oh my!
And the ball carries a little bit more.
Spectacular when that roof is open, and pretty much, I don't know, it's pretty much like the Rays place with a hotel. I mean, they're they
have upgraded it recently. They've made some changes in the outfield. They moved the press box, of course, to the left field corner, which is a boo for them. But it's a nice press box out there.
Yeah, it is
6 or 7 miles to get to the clubhouse. Not important, but what is important is what they're doing to the Yankees. And it was a good offensive team. They're really hard to strike out. Imagine that working in today's era.
Yeah.
And so I mean they've got this thing under control.
Trey Yasevich yesterday gets out there 5 1/3 no hit in like his what for sure his first postseason start.
Yeah.
But like his third or fourth major league start, a rookie that poised against the Yankees in a playoff game. I mean, that was fantastic. You had Vlad hitting the first ever grand slam in the postseason in the Blue Jays organization. And again, they had some pretty good runs in the 90s and some pretty good hitters.
Oh, yeah.
So he had the first of those. That was really cool. And like I say, 15 hits and double-digit runs each day. The Yankees made that big run later in the 6th and 7th inning, got to 7 runs. And, other times you might be, oh, shoot, here come the Yankees. It's like, yeah, we ain't got to worry. We still got a huge lead. So
it's kind of like Game 4 of the 23 World Series.
Yes.
Rangers sprinted out to the huge lead.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks made some noise late, and everyone's thinking, oh, Diamondbacks bats just woke up. Well, Nathan Eovaldi quieted them.
Yeah, he put them back to sleep.
Yeah.
Tigers in Seattle, really cool game on Saturday. Maybe my favorite part of it was extra innings and no ghost run.
Yeah.
Man, that was cool. Not in the playoffs. Yeah, not in the playoffs. No ghost runner, man. I was so into the extra innings, especially obviously since the Tigers ended up pulling it off. But really cool. They faced George Kirby, we see him a lot. I mean, he's hard to hit.
Good.
And he's very good. And they, the Tigers had come through a wild card series, so they'd used their pitchers. So that 3-game wild card series, no less. So they're down to the dregs of their pitching rotation, where a rookie themselves. And I'll be danged if the kid didn't go toe to toe with Kirby. And Harry Carpenter has either 5 or 6 hits against George Kirby, all home runs.
That's nuts.
All home runs.
That's crazy.
Nobody hits home runs off George Kirby except Harry Carpenter. So he did it again that night. That was cool. And the Tigers, I think, stole one. And that's, as we all know, in a playoff series like that, you're just trying to steal that one and you essentially now have home field advantage.
Yeah, and the next 3 are in Detroit. So we'll see. You know, it's going to be a good series.
Yeah.
So since Rob, my buddy from TCU, is asking questions, he asks, how hard is it to get major league hitters to listen to the major league hitting coach and not their personal hitting coach? And boy, that was a big sticking point of mine early in the season.
It was, yeah,
because Donnie Ecker was, and then Brett Boone also dealing with multiple players who had their own hitting coach. And the problem, I think, with the personal hitting coaches is they only work on the swing. They teach the mechanics of the swing. Now, they'll communicate with the major league hitting coaches and all that and make sure everybody's on the same page. But what the problem is, and what the Rangers believe, that these personal hitting coaches, and this is not just a Rangers problem, it's baseball wide, they don't teach approach. And so I think that's kind of where things can get lost, is like, well, I'm listening to my hitting coach. Okay, but you need to, understand the situational hitting component. And maybe that's where these guys only work on one swing, as Chris Young was saying the other day, whereas they need to have the ability to shorten up or go the other way, do certain things whenever the game asks them to do. So I think that's kind of a potential issue going forward.
Yeah, it is.
Just in today's game.
It is. It's a big conundrum for all of these teams because I swear when Seager came in 3 years ago in 2022, having his own hitting coach, it seemed like, what the heck's going on here? Now it seems like everybody has.
Yeah. And then, Jock Peterson has his own hitting coach. I'm sure Marlon Byrd doesn't want us advertising that, but Marlon Byrd is Jock Peterson's
good work,
hitting coach.
Marlon.
And then Adolis Garcia's hitting coach is Bobby Witt Jr.'s hitting coach.
Bobby Witt, who had the most hits, right, in the American League.
Yeah, great. Yeah. So I don't know. Sometimes I think the player might have something to do with it too. And Mark did point out accurately, the next 2 games are in Detroit. I was thinking this was best of 7, but it's best of 5.
2-2-1. So, but hopefully, perspective, they won't need to go back to Seattle. And I will say this too, on a quick note. If you've watched a lot, I said, even though the Tigers are in there, I'm kind of rooting for Seattle. I'd like to see them win their first. No, I don't. I'm not. I could care less if they win their first. Look, my allegiances have come back out. I'm not rooting for Seattle. Not that it has much to do with the Rangers-Mariners rivalry, as it currently exists or anything. Just that, I don't want the Mariners to beat the Tigers. So that's the fun part about the postseason. And I saw somebody in there, if the Rangers had even an average offense, if the lineup was even average, the Rangers would be in this right now. And that's true. But as we've talked about, especially when you go back and look at it, if the Rangers had a closer, they'd probably be in the playoffs despite the offense, right? So there's a lot of things you could point to over the course of a 162-game season that derailed them. The interesting part about it is, for sure today, if the Rangers were in the playoffs, Bruce Bochy would still be the manager. And you do wonder, what if they'd made a little playoff run but not won the World Series? Would this change still have been made? Would have been harder to do.
Yeah.
Would have been much less popular. But anyway, we're never going to find out.
Yeah, and if they had gone to the wild card round and been bounced, probably the change happens.
Yeah.
If they advance, it gets harder to do. If they advance, it gets really hard to do. And if they advance and win it all, well, it's next to impossible.
No chance. Yeah.
But but at that point, then maybe he's like, you know what? I won my World Series.
Yeah.
So long, guys.
Might have. Yeah.
Might have been his bold decision. Yeah. And then it would have been mutual, because Chris Young had said, well, whatever Bruce Bochy wants to do, he's going to get to do.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Not quite. All right. Okay, so that's that. A fun show today. We appreciate you, as always. Very active in the chat. We're here again tomorrow at 1 o'clock. One day this week, if and when they have the press conference, we may have to alter the time slightly, but our plan right now is to be with you at 1 o'clock every day this week, talking baseball and talking Rangers on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
all city like the mayor.